Hi, Leo, and welcome to your April 2024 horoscope. We have a lot of astrological events in April. We have a solar eclipse, and we also have Mars conjunct Saturn, and we have Jupiter conjunct Uranus, which actually only happens once every 14 years. But let's get into the day-by-day breakdown so you can have more details on what to expect. On April 3rd, Venus is conjunct Neptune in your 8th house. This is a really beautiful aspect in a really beautiful house. Already, Venus with Neptune is symbolizing this loving, spiritual, compassionate connection. And especially for you, Leo, happening in your 8th house, it's almost as if you're starting off the month with this super loving, vulnerable connection with somebody where you truly see each other, you know your best and worst parts of each other, and you still choose to love each other unconditionally. Keep in mind that this aspect also makes it difficult to set boundaries. So if you do have some relationships that you're still trying to figure out, you have a feeling that some people can sometimes take advantage of you, then it might be nice to keep your distance on this day because the Venus and Neptune conjunction might make it difficult for you to set boundaries. On April 5th, Venus enters Aries, or your 9th house, and as it does that, it sextiles Pluto in your 7th house. So if you're curious to learn more about Pluto in your 7th house, I did a whole live series. I think it was over an hour and a half long. You can check it out here. I go into all of the details of Pluto in each of the houses. For a quick summary though, just for this April horoscope, Pluto in your 7th house is teaching you to connect with others and to realize how powerful and meaningful life can be when you have people around you that are there to support you and that you can do life together with. And now that Venus has entered your 9th house, you might already naturally become a little bit more oriented around the ways that you make sense of the world, your belief system, the values and morals that you've put in place in order to make sense of why things are the way they are, and bigger questions like why do we die, or what's the point of life. There are certain stories you've made up to make sense of it, and these might especially be on top of your mind now that Venus has entered your 9th house. And because it's a really positive aspect between Venus and Pluto, I can almost see it as the beautiful things you're learning in your relationship about what it really means to do life with another human being right there next to you is influencing these belief systems that you've made up for yourself and tweaking them and seeing if you can adjust them and perhaps incorporate connection and this other person a little bit more into your belief systems, your morals, and your values. On April 8th, there's a solar eclipse in your 9th house in the sign of Aries. The solar eclipse is a new moon, which means that the sun and the moon are conjunct in your 9th house for you specifically, Leo. This eclipse is ruled by the sun because the sun and the moon are in the decan ruled by the sun. And the way I interpret this is that this solar eclipse could be led by the ego. We might be making actions or decisions not on our true selves, but more because our ego is hurt and wants to protect itself. Also, during the solar eclipse, Mercury is retrograde. So it's possible that what we're saying is also being misinterpreted by others, misunderstood. So overall, there can be a lot of that energy. And because it's in your 9th house, Leo, it could be that the way you're communicating to others about your belief systems and morals and values is not coming across in the best way. Perhaps you are also communicating them in a way that's not compassionate or caring, but that in a way that your ego feels threatened and it needs to sort of defend itself. On April 10th, we have Mars conjunct Saturn in your 8th house. Mars is the planet of action, and Saturn can put a halt to your action. And specifically because this is happening in your 8th house, Leo, it could be that you have some wonderful plans on things you want to do with your loved one so that you can really feel connected and you can get to know each other even better. But Saturn is saying, wait a minute, let's think about it. Let's be patient with it. Let's not jump to any actions just yet. On April 17th, we have Venus conjunct the North Node in your 9th house. So I really see this day as an opportunity, a less emotionally charged opportunity to reflect on the solar eclipse. Because Venus is touching the North Nodes pretty much at the same point that the Sun and the Moon touched them earlier in the month, I really see this day as the same themes perhaps popping up, but a little bit less emotionally charged, so that you have the space to reflect on the lessons and on if there's anything in your life that you want to adjust based on what happened during the eclipse. On April 20th, we have the big event, which is Jupiter conjunct Uranus. For you, Leo, this is happening in your 10th house. Good to keep in mind is that on April 20th, the Sun also enters Taurus, so we have extra Taurus energy, and the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction is actually sextiling Mars. Jupiter has been traveling through your 10th house for almost a year now, so you might have been experiencing a lot of great career opportunities. However, Uranus has also been traveling through your 10th house for actually much longer than Jupiter has. So you probably have also been experiencing the highest highs and the lowest lows when it comes to your career. And the conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus is almost as if they're sitting down to have coffee together. They're each sharing their story of what passing through Taurus has taught them. And together, they hopefully come together to a new epiphany, a new realization about a career and how they want to continue to approach that part of life. The day later, on April 21st, the Sun moves a little bit deeper into the sign of Taurus, and as it does that, it squares Pluto. So as we shared earlier, Pluto in your 7th house is teaching you the meaning that arrives in life when you connect with others and you have love and true meaningful connection in your life. And it's almost as if all of your focus that's going into your career is perhaps making it difficult for you to truly connect with others. Again, this is a square aspect, so a little bit more difficult. And, honestly, the first interpretation I have of this is each takes time. It takes time to show up for our career, continue to improve. And it also takes time to show up for our relationships and continue to give them love and attention. So that could really be one of the simplest interpretations I could give of this aspect of this transit. That you might really feel this friction between, career and love and connection. On April 24th, we have a full moon in Scorpio in your 4th house. So the Sun is in Taurus in your 10th house and the moon in Scorpio in your 4th house. And full moons usually bring insights because it's the Sun literally shining a light on the moon on the dark parts that we may not have seen before. And for you, especially with the moon being in your 4th house, it's almost as if something is happening in your career that's revealing to you parts of your internal world, parts of your foundations that could be adjusted. Parts of them that you didn't see before that you think, I see them now and I don't like this and I think I want to adjust. So it could be literally like, your career is making you realize that you never spend time at home anymore, that your house is quite messy, for example. But it could be more internal realizations, like you realize that your career is forcing you to do things that are not morally aligned with who you are and how you want to show up in the world. On April 28th, Mars is conjunct Neptune in your 8th house. It's another really beautiful aspect to have in your 8th house, Leo. And it's almost as if you are taking action on this day to be more closely spiritually aligned and compassionate with those close to you. For other zodiac signs, when this placement is in a different house, I really interpret this event for them as more the general compassion and love towards the rest of humanity. But for you, Leo, it's quite an intimate house. So I really see this directed, this energy of wanting to connect and be one with another human being, directed really towards one or two people, those that are really closest to you, those that you tell your deepest, darkest secrets to. So a really beautiful day to take some actions to deepen those bonds. We finally close off the month on April 30th with both Venus and Mars returning to their homes. So Venus is returning to Taurus and Aries is returning to Mars. And I really see this day as a sigh of relief. We've survived April. We've survived the craziness of April. And now it finally feels like things are settling down. Things don't feel upside down anymore. It feels like things are the right way up. It might feel more genuine and more easy to express our emotions, both positive and negative. Because Venus and Mars are in places where they feel more comfortable, they feel more natural and at ease. So overall, Leo, there is a lot of opportunity in April to have meaningful, deep connections with those close to you, to be vulnerable and show your true self. Don't be afraid. And there's also some considerations you're doing around your belief system and some big things happening in your career as well, actually, Leo. So I'm curious to know, let me know down below, what's this big thing happening in your career? What are the realizations you've had through both Jupiter and Uranus traveling through your 10th house for the last little bit? And if you want to make sure that you catch the May horoscope, then make sure you subscribe. I hope to see you again soon.